Yeah, I've been ready.
Was Boston ready last night? And to you, what exactly happened last night?
Well, the Nuggets happened, right? And
Yeah.
it started with Joker, end with Murray, and everybody else on the team in between.
Yeah.
But you think about it, in the fourth quarter, the Celtics shot 36% from the floor. Fourth quarter, they only managed 25% from three. You can't win games like that when you're going up against this type of team on the road, especially. And on top of that, you think about it, the Celtics are still one of the top two teams in the East. Okay, I understand that if you want to call it a sweep because it's 2-0 to Denver versus the Celtics, spread out. This is not the NBA Finals.
No.
If it's the NBA Finals, maybe you're looking at it a little bit different, Skip, because you got a number of games spread out over several weeks.
January 19th was when they played in Boston.
It's a totally different situation. But you got to think the Nuggets, first of all, in the fourth, they're fourth in points allowed in the last 5 minutes of games. We talk about this all the time when it comes to teams that they play, whether it's the Lakers or whether it's the Suns or the Celtics or whoever it is that they're beating. Everything seems to be close. And for whatever reason against this team, they have figured out how to close games out in the fourth quarter with about 4 minutes left in games.
Yeah.
When everybody else is missing shots, they're making shots in transition, they're throwing lobs, they're dunking, they're knocking down threes. So they're kind of like taking your heart away from you late in games. And that's exactly what I felt like happened last night to the Celtics. I thought the Celtics, for the most part, they didn't play extremely well, but they didn't not have a chance to win the game.
That is a fact.
They had a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
But, again, in that late fourth quarter, they missed shots. The Nuggets made shots. And so that's how I sum it up.
Okay. I have said all year, even though I have picked the Celtics to win the Eastern Conference, the one thing I don't love about this Joe Mazzulla version of the Celtics as opposed to the Ime Udoka previous version of the Celtics is it's the oldest cliche in basketball since the invention of the three-point line shot. You live and you die by the three. And they all-time live and die by the three. I have never seen anything like it in NBA history where a good team, not just some fluky, off-radar team, but a good basketball team that plays very good, they're third in defense, they still offensively just live and die by the three. And they effectively died by it last night, even though the problem was, okay, so they shoot 11 of 38. So they tried 38. They average 48 a game. So you can say, well, at least they kind of kept it to a low roar. Yeah, but it's 28.9%. Well, it's just not on the road. Okay, you're not going to win that basketball game unless the home team shoots 4 of 21 from three. Denver was 4 of 21. So from the three-point line, that's plus 21 points for Boston. Well, isn't that how they sort of hung in there?
Oh, yeah.
And by the way,
if Boston making their threes, Boston wins the game.
Okay, why have they beaten 3 teams by 50-plus points? Why did they beat, who was it, Golden State by 52, and they beat Pacers by 51, they beat the Nets by 50? Why did they do that? Because they just rained threes, especially against Golden State. In the first quarter, it seemed like they made 16 threes. Okay, if you're going to do that, you're going to win by 50. But you can't do it every night because it's a hard shot, as you know. They take the most, they make the most, but they're making the most because they take the most. So in these playoff series, if this is the 7-game finals, well, they're just going to roller coaster ride because one night, and you can't even explain it. It's inexplicable to me. It's like mystifying. Why do you heat up some nights and some nights you don't? I don't know. The coaches can't explain it. You just kind of hope that guys come out and it suddenly looks good. Maybe the first one goes in and you go, ooh, I like that. That felt good. And then all of a sudden it gets contagious and they all go crazy.
Well, Porzingis was 3 for 10.
Okay, but he actually, in the second half, when he was making them, they felt big to me. They felt like they were real and like they kept them afloat.
Yeah, I mean, but when you're shooting, see, I understand the bigs, this is the game now, shooting threes. Yeah. But I just don't think, like you said, Skip, that you need to take as many. They shot 38 of them last night.
Yeah, I know.
And they were not even falling at all. If they were falling, then I would sit and say, okay, yeah, go ahead and keep knocking them down.
Yeah.
I understand 3 is more than 2, but when it's not falling for you, find something else to score your points on.
Okay. And again,
Because if you become aggressive and you get to the cup, you can get and ones, and that's your three right there.
Yeah, and so then they're stuck often with Porzingis trying to guard Jokic, and he's just not physical enough. He doesn't have enough girth. And we talked yesterday about how, Joker is slimmed down some. He still looks pretty portly, but he can throw his weight around. And when he throws it into Porzingis is taller than he is, but it doesn't matter, because
his trunk is a lot wider than Porzingis.
I would say. Okay, so there's one guy in that Celtics locker room who has, as you say, that dog in him. There's one guy you can trust in the biggest moments and biggest games, and he's the new guy. He's Drew Holiday, and I still say Milwaukee will miss him as much as the Celtics will benefit from having him in big playoff games because he is a big play maker on both ends of the floor. How did they get back in the game last night? He made 2 big late threes in the fourth quarter.
The only two that he made, he shot 6.
Okay, and they were huge. They were momentum where they're crucial. Where you say, oh, that had to be made for them to have a chance. All right. So then we get to a guy who I'm not sure has enough dog in him, and that's Jayson Tatum. I've talked about him for years on this show. I'm going to remind everybody he's in his 7th NBA season. He is a great guy. He is a nice guy. He is the nicest guy. I'm just not sure, because I've never been sure he's that guy when it comes to making basketball shots. Big plays, big moments. I don't see enough of him. He's had a rocky year in crunch time, what they call clutch time. He's 32% in clutch time this year. They're obviously a really good team. They've had historic moments this year. But in these games, in the biggest moments, he's got to be their best player. And I've often said, to me, Jaylen Brown's a little bit, I would take Jaylen Brown over Jayson Tatum.
Well, that conversation came up a year or so ago when they were talking about moving some pieces around. Jaylen Brown was mentioned, and he wasn't very happy about it, but he wound up getting a Supermax and staying with the Boston Celtics. So, look, Tatum hasn't had the best year. He hasn't had the best success in the playoffs.
He has not.
They anointed him as their guy. He's the face of the franchise, and he's their guy. He's probably got to do better at times, but I'm not so down on him like you, Skip, to the point where I'm now going to start picking Jaylen Brown over Tatum because Tatum is supposed to be the guy, and he's not living up to the expectations of what people think he should be. He's a hell of a basketball player, man.
He's a hell of a basketball player. Last night, Jaylen Brown was the guy because he scored 41 with 14 boards. That'll work. And Porzingis gave you 24 and 12. That'll work. But the guy, the face of the franchise, he had kind of an AD, kind of one of those non-nights where you say, where are you? Low energy, low impact. Just didn't seem to have a lot of pep in his step.
Maybe it's carrying over from the night 2 nights ago when he didn't play so well, and
down the stretch,
he missed like 9 shots.
He did.
So maybe
one for his last and 1 for 9 in the fourth. He missed his last 9 shots.
Yeah, last 9 shots.
Yes,
so maybe it's a carryover from then.
Yeah, and he went 5 of 13. So Jaylen Brown took twice as many shots as Jayson Tatum did, 29 to 13. And once again, as I was forced to call him in the finals 2 years ago, he can be Jason Turnover because he will turn the basketball. He had 5 last night. Remember the finals against Golden State? He averaged 4 a game, and the numbers were he played okay. Other than that, he was 20 in the finals. He was 22, 7, and 7. But remember in the conference finals against Miami last year, he couldn't buy a 3. He was 23.5% from 3 against the Celtics in 7. It's the Heat in 7 games, and they lost that. All right. So what happens last night? They force a turnover thanks to Drew Holiday, and they have kind of a little semi 3-on-2 break. I thought they could have gotten a dunk out of it, but they still got Jayson Tatum drifting to the corner, and he gets a wide open, uncontested 3 from the corner, and here it is with 45 seconds left. See that? I think whatever. And I'll take that. I'll take it if that's your best player, and he left it a little short, just a little short.
Or a little long.
Well, it's just, it hits the front side of the rim. Yeah, it hits the front side. It's just, it's like, I don't know, 6 inches short, maybe 4 inches short. and it hits the front side of the
But
rim.
I've
and
seen
goes
him
long.
make that shot.
Well, you have, but I haven't seen enough in those moments because that gives them the lead in the basketball game with 45 seconds left, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now, to cap that off, if we're just looking at the two best teams so far in basketball, let's go back to that January 19th game. What happened at the end of that game? Well, Jayson Tatum didn't happen again. They had their late chances. There were two shots that he had late in this game. We could see the two. He's got kind of a reverse layup here, and he kind of lost the handle for a second, but he just left it a little short. I'm not condemning that one. Not condemning that one. He didn't really have the handle. He just didn't get the ball up, but you got to make these. Okay, so here's the inbounds at the buzzer. This is to tie, and he missed it badly. Okay, that's to tie. The first one was to go ahead a point, and the second one was to tie. All right, so once again, it came down to Jayson Tatum, Jayson Tatum, Jayson Tatum, because it should come down to Jayson Tatum. And again, it's hard for me to come down hard on Jayson Tatum because, listen, I'm close with Nelly. Nelly watched the kid grow up. He is salt of the earth. He's as good as it gets. His heart is good. He's a good father. He's everything you could want.
Nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with playing basketball. But it makes me pause because even his post-game interviews, they're sensational. He's open-hearted, and he'll just give you all. He'll just gush for you.
He hasn't come up in the biggest moments for him in times that you look up and you say some things. When I was working with Perk over at ESPN, and when they lost that, it was a championship game. I don't remember what championship game. It was one of them because they had been in a couple.
Yes.
But he lost it, and I told him, I said, I think the window of championship has closed for Boston. They'll always be around and hovering and making you feel good about the situation. There's just something that's missing on that team that can't get them over the hump. Now they go out and they get Porzingis, so you figure, okay, they added some pieces. They bring Jaylen Brown back. It's just one of those.
And Drew Holiday.
And Drew Holiday. They go out and get Drew Holiday. So you figure, okay, this team is going to make a strong championship run. Again, January 19th and then again last night doesn't mean anything to me because the postseason is a lot tighter in between games opposed to this being stretched out like that. Maybe being in the postseason in a 7-game series against a Denver Nugget type team or even a Milwaukee to get there, you may see something different from them. We haven't seen it yet because they haven't won a championship yet. We've been talking about this team, the same team, for the most part, the makeup of Jaylen Brown and Tatum for 7 years. We've been saying the same thing for 7 years.
That is correct.
And so I don't know if they're the best. That's why I said to you the other day, I don't know if they're the best team in the conference. It could be Milwaukee. For all we know, it could be a healthy Cleveland team
could be. They're
in a
really
7-game
good.
series.
They are really deep and good. I agree with you. All right. Look, here's the point with Jayson Tatum. I'm not writing him completely off because sometimes you just need enough scar tissue. You just need to go through it enough times and fail enough times until you finally just say, that's enough of that. And you get mad about it in a good way, and you just say, okay, I'm better than this. Watch this. But to your point again, we're at the end of year 7. It's not the year of year 2 or 3. It's 7 total seasons, and we haven't seen enough.
We'll take him in L.A., though.
Yeah, would you?
In a heartbeat.
Okay. Well, is that happening?
No, I'm just saying, we'll take him.
I know, but you always just snap your fingers as a Laker fan, and you're just delusional, like, well, we'll just come on over here. Giannis, just come over.
I'm not delusional.
Yeah.
We just like to have great players.
Oh, so
and he's a great player.
They're just destined to
at some point
finish out in LA,
right? At some point,
yeah.
If they become available, they are certainly eyeing Los Angeles.
All right.
We'll take him.
Would you take Joker? See, you don't like him, and he looks like he's going to win another MVP.
I know. It's just too bland for me.
Okay.
Whenever our center's been that bland, like we usually got some pop to it. Even though he's a hell of a player and he looks great, you'd be a fool not to want him. But he doesn't fit. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so he doesn't fit. Yet last night, after Jayson Tatum missed that wide open corner 3, the Nuggets come down on the next possession, And Joker, at first I thought it was just a bad shot. It's just one of those genius passes of his. He's up in the air and he throws a hook pass to Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon is the perfect complement for Joker because Aaron Gordon's got low ego and all he does is roam the baseline and lurk. And if he gets open, he is 6'9", and he can jump out of the gym, and he's strong, and he will hurt you.
Well, first of all, Porzingis on that particular play shouldn't be flopping.
Yeah,
okay?
flop.
You can't do that.
Okay.
Stay poised, get set.
That was a
and
flop.
keep your You can't just stay right there with your hands up.
Okay, but how many centers in the history of basketball have been able to go up to shoot a little baby hook and at the last second say, oh, I think I'm going to re-aim over here and I'm going to actually hook a pass for a dunk? Because I'm pretty sure that was not a bad shot. I think it was a pass.
No, that was a pass.
It was just definitely a pass.
He intended to throw that as a pass to begin with, though.
Yeah.
That was always that. He didn't wait to the 11th hour to make a decision to throw it as a pass.
No.
That was already, hey, I'm getting ready to
My man Chris Haynes was on TNT after the game talking to Joker and was a little skeptical. Are you sure that was a pass? And
yeah, you
Joker
can tell.
said,
You can tell it was a pass. 100%, you can tell it was a pass.
All right. So once again, this team down the stretch of close games, they don't fold, they don't buckle. They just stay right in sequence and make all the right little big plays. They're not sensational. Nobody's going to hit,
Well, that's what I said. They're fourth in the league in the last 5 minutes of a game, allowing points defensively.
Yeah.
Or overtime. I mean, they're just for what I don't know what Mike Malone is doing to get them to focus in late in the fourth quarter, but whatever it is, we need some of that from the Lakers.
Yeah, you do. I agree. So, Keyshawn, I don't know how bland 32 points
I know.
With 12 rebounds and 11 assists, that's pretty bland.
No, so
right?
It's just but it doesn't look good, but it's so damn effective that he's gonna win. Will it be his second or his third MVP? Which one would it be?
We're to 3, right?
It would be his third.
Yeah.
It's gonna probably count for his third MVP.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, a second straight trip to the finals.
Yeah, so I was thinking of you last night when I'm thinking Luka had another sensational night. We're going to talk about him in a few minutes. So he's on an offensive tear and also assisting and rebounding, putting up huge off-the-chart numbers. This guy is dominating at his position, and neither one of them can jump at all. So
Joker dunked last night.
I know it, but he rarely dunks.
No, but I'm saying he got a dunk last night.
Well, he's 7 feet tall. You think he could dunk flat-footed, right?
Yeah, he got a little.
Okay, but what I'm saying, they don't use leapers. Like they're not going to out-jump you.
I don't know. I can't remember. Any European players, for the most part, being flyers. They
just don't.
They got hit rock. They can knock it down. They can pass. They can do all sorts of things. Lack of defense for the most part, because I think those leagues are all offense over there, and they grow up shooting the pill. And so I think that from a Joker standpoint, he doesn't need to tomahawk dunk on you. He doesn't need to do those things because his perimeter game is tight, his inside game is tight, and the guy is, he's, what you gonna say? There's nothing to argue about with him, no, Skip. I'm just saying, for me, he just doesn't, I don't know. It's something about him that's just like, but hey, if he's going to give me a championship, if he's on my team, I'll take it all day long. He doesn't need to be a snack, crackle, pop guy. No. He's very effective at doing exactly what he's been doing.
Both he and Luka have reinvented the speed of basketball. Go ahead. You want to say something? I was going
to say, Luka has a little more pizzazz to him than Joker.
Well, he's more fun to watch.
He's a little more pizzazz to him than Joker, but they slow it down just enough to where they get you. Well, they lure you in and they get you.
But they're playing at their own speed, and you can't find their speed because it's out of rhythm. You can't, so to speak, dance to it. They won't let you dance with them. You can't mirror what they're doing because it's herky-jerky off rhythm. You know what I mean? It just drives you crazy because that's not how you do it.
Luka's less old man game than Joker. Joker got an old man game.
He does.
That's just, it's a weird deal. It's almost like when you talk about Wemby the other day about being your dad when he blocked. That's just like Joker. Like, I'm just gonna, do this to you and then boom, I'm gonna hit it. There's nothing you can do.
Where did that come? Well, that's not how you do it. right? Oh, it went in. Way to go. All right. I can't wait to talk about this because I can't wait to hear what Keyshawn has to say about this. Jake Paul is actually going to fight Mike Tyson? Really? Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.